I sold my house. I was going to use the assets of my house to get me my records.
Adoption wasn't always secret. Adoption records were sealed in Ontario and most of Canada and most of North America in the late 1920s. You know, there was some thought that you would be able to give the birth mother a clean break, a fresh start. You would take the stigma away from the illegitimate child.
We're all adults. We're all citizens. We should have our birth certificates. We shouldn't be in any special category, either pro or con.
That's the signifier of your difference, is your name, who you really are.
Imagines herself light years ahead, sleep with her memories and gray in her hair. Just another seasick sailor clinging to the side of the bed.
And I was looking after the house. My adopted mother and her mother, who turned out to be her aunt, actually. She was adopted to my adopted mother. I ransacked the house and found the adoption papers, and I got right on it, and I wrote a letter to the Adoption Disclosure Registry, and I asked them for this information.
In some cases, the whole truth was kept from them. You know, the adoptive parents pretended that they went through birth and that dad handed out cigars, and then, you know, it's hard to keep up a lie 100%. That's really awful. Or, you know, parents die. Sometimes I meet people online that parents die and you find in a trunk the true documents that you were adopted.
Birth parents made choices or decisions, adoptive parents made choices or decisions, and the people who are central to the adoption, that is the adoptee, has never had any opportunity to make any choices or decisions.
We know there's over 300,000 adoptions we know of, but we know there's a lot more. Because there's a lot of people that they just don't exist as active files because people don't even know they're adopted.
Because I've been following it through Donna for so many years, and sharing in a lot of that frustration of not only her not being able to get the information and knowledge about her own history, but that knowing that this in fact has been a policy that has affected many, many people's lives on a very deep level.
I was working at home, and there's an advantage of working in an office on this stuff, and that advantage is that you leave. You might make a note here and there, but I'd come down and I'd start working at the computer again. The next thing it'd be 5 more hours. So I was putting in, 12, 14 hours a day. It was close, it was over $15,000. I mean, most people can't imagine a $15,000 photocopy job.
Initially, for a long time, it's like a big open wound. And as she worked on the case, then her focus became less and less about herself and her personal feelings of loss and more about the law and the structure and how to argue the case.
They used to stamp birth certificates illegitimate right on the birth certificate. Illegitimate means you're not real. I mean, it's just craziness.
Rivers rise and mountains fall. We are all except adopted people, we're not connected to anything. In all those pieces, I have learned to master and to fit my own dissection. All the time a stranger.
Legislation that happened in Ontario which is just very complicated. Roughly speaking, it allows people like me who were born in Ontario to get our original birth documents as long as, and then there are all these provisos, as long as nobody says no.
I put that up and took it around. And I went around down in the area that my mother lived, and I went to various store owners and shops that I thought it might have been around, looking to find out if anybody knew her. They had good news and bad news that my mother's name was Alice and that she'd been dead for 27 years. She'd killed herself. So I found out my mother's name and that she was dead in the same sentence.
3 people, 5 people, 1 person could sit in robes on a bench and tell another human being that they don't have a right to know who they are. Would they take that for granted?
And I said, as they were leaving, arguments were over, I said, you know, Mr. Justice Laforme, I don't hurt because I'm Native and I was adopted. I hurt because I'm a human being and I lost my entire family.